It used to be gnomes. Now it's dragons. I think I have another obsession. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. It is vlog number 412 for June the 23rd, 2025. And this coming weekend is the long weekend here in Canada to celebrate Canada Day. And on the heels of that, I guess you Americans will be celebrating July the 4th. I don't know if you have much to celebrate this year, but, you know, anything that brings you joy. So, moving right along to what I've been working on. Of course, this is the Quilts of Valor, my latest one, and it's called Across the Nation. Yeah, that's the name of it. It's an official pattern from the Quilt of Valor site. I have it all together now. You've seen it in various pieces, and you're probably hearing a noise in the background. It's just my 3D printer leveling itself. It makes this really loud noise. Shall we listen? Don't know if you're hearing that or not. You're not missing much. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. This is a Quilts of Valor Across the Nation. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I bought my backing fabric for it on the weekend. Do I have a picture of that? I thought I did. No, I don't. Oh, I thought I took a picture of it. Oh, I did take a picture of that, and I'm saving it to show you on the Idiot Quilter and to talk more about this design. And yeah, that's enough for this right now. Next stage is to get it on Lucey and get it quilted. Okay, the other thing I've been working on, little sneak peek. They don't look like much right now. I hope they look better when they go together. But this will become a tote bag, and it's an in the hoop design by Sweet Pea Designs. And again, I will talk more about this tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube of the week. And I am sure that, like anybody else that watches YouTube, including all of us content creators, maybe even more so with us content creators, we hate the ads. And we have no control over those as either a content creator or as a viewer. And there's more and more of them, and they're getting longer and longer and fewer, a longer time between when you can skip through them. Basically, YouTube is trying to make us all buy a subscription, and a YouTube subscription is not cheap. I already have several subscriptions, you know, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all that kind of stuff. I don't need another subscription. And I do resent that they are doing this, because they are truly manipulating us. But I found a video, actually it was a video recommended to me by a friend, that explains the changes that you have probably noticed but weren't sure if they really were changing things. Like my theory was that their countdown for when you can skip a video, second for YouTube, is slightly longer than a second in real time. Yeah. And want to know something? I'm not wrong. But, well, here's my review of what this YouTube clip is all about. This week's YouTube video clip is one that I have been thinking about this for quite a while, and this has reconfirmed my suspicions, and that has to do with the way ads are handled on YouTube. Now, we all hate them. They pop up, and sometimes we can skip them, and sometimes we can't. And when they first started doing these, you could skip it within 5 seconds. But lately, you have to sit through 1, 2, or even 3 ads before you can skip them, which doesn't seem right. On top of it all, I've also noticed that the little countdown timer seems to be slightly slower as it changes from 1 second to the next second. I don't know. I just have a suspicion of this. Well, my suspicions have been answered in this particular YouTube clip called YouTube Ads Are Getting Ridiculous, the 2025 edition. The person who put this up explains exactly what's happening with YouTube ads. And surprisingly, near the end of this particular video clip, he talks about why he is a premium subscriber. And it's not for the reasons you might think. And he's also not advertising or even suggesting that we should all fork out a lot of money every month to avoid ads on YouTube. But if you've been pissed off at the number of ads that are on any YouTube video, and which, by the way, don't get pissed off at the YouTube content creators, because we as creators have no control over how ads are placed in our videos. So if you wondered about how this is all done, then you're going to want to check out this particular YouTube clip called YouTube Ads Are Getting Ridiculous. So if you're pissed off about the ads on YouTube, then I really suggest you watch that video. It's going to put a lot of things in perspective for you. It's not going to change anything, and it's only going to get worse. You know, money makes the world go round, apparently, and YouTube is greedy as all get out. But at least we are an informed bunch of individuals who are being abused by YouTube. Okay, so you'll find a link for that in the show notes below. You'll find a link for Sewing with Stephen, always on Wednesdays, starting 9 a.m. Eastern Time, finishing around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All are welcome. Come and go as you please. Work on whatever you want. Have fun. Yeah. There is a link to my friends' channels, and there are links to last week's videos as well. Okay, let's go to page 2, shall we? So, what are things looking like today weather-wise? Well, I know everybody's been suffering from the heat, and you know that's something about us humans. We bitch about the cold in the winter, we bitch about the heat in the summer. We're never, ever happy, are we? Personally, I don't mind the heat. However, I have to admit, this past few days here where I live, and I know it's worse in other parts of North America, the heat has been almost unbearable. Thank goodness for AC. But here is what things are looking like outside this morning. Very nice looking morning here. This is at about 20 after 6 a.m. And after I finish doing my recording here and get this posted, I'm going out for a walk before it gets too terribly hot. And looking at my phone right now, current temperature right now is 20 degrees C. That is comfortable, but it's creeping up. By noon today, it will be 31 degrees C. And why am I not seeing a high here? Yeah, high today is supposed to be 32 degrees C. And for those of you that are in the other system, in the Fahrenheit system, 32 degrees C is in the 90s, around 92, 94 degrees. Is that how high it is? Let's see. You double it and add 30. Okay. Double it is 62. Yeah, in around 91, 92 degrees. And that's going to carry on right through into the early evening. And it is not going to drop that much overnight. Lowest it's going to go overnight is about 23 degrees C. So, yeah, not really comfortable sleeping weather if you don't have AC or a huge fan. But, you know, I'm not going to complain about it, because in a few months' time, unfortunately, time flies when you're having fun, we're going to be bitching about the cold. So let's enjoy the warmth while we can. At least we'll be bitching about the cold in my part of North America. Others of you may still be bitching about the heat where you live. Okay, so that's what the outlook for the temperature and the climate and everything else is looking like today. So what's pissing me off this week? Well, I already alluded to it. How YouTube takes advantage of content creators. From our point of view as content creators, you probably think we're making vast amounts of money from the advertising that's there because it pops up every 5 seconds. And you probably resent that watching, you know, your favorite YouTube creator. Hi, that would be me. And getting interrupted all the time by ads. Well, first of all, I want you to know we are as much of a victim of those ads as you are. We are not paid very much for being monetized. And even if we're not monetized, that would not stop the ads. So we might as well get something for it, because we have no control over them. They keep changing the rules. They put in things for us to make us think we have control over where the ads will be placed and the number. We don't. Not at all. We are at YouTube's whim. Also, just about how much they pay us for an ad, it's pennies. pennies, literally pennies. And the only way we make any money on them is if someone sits through pretty much the entire ad. So every time you skip an ad, you are helping a content creator make less money, in a sense. Now, I don't care, like, about the money part of it. I don't. As I said, there would be ads on my channel whether I was monetized or not. I can't do anything about that. So I might as well get something for it. But I'll be upfront and transparent about the whole thing. And you've probably heard me talk about this before. How much do I make a month on my channel? I make about $200 a month Canadian. Okay? I make more than that, but YouTube takes for taxes. Yes, even though they're an American company, I pay American taxes. So your road work and everything like that from your tax money, you're welcome. That came from me. They take 30%. That's the maximum amount. Now, there were forms I filled out to say, hey, hi, I'm a Canadian. And supposedly, at least at that time, I don't know if it's still true now, we had some kind of an agreement with the United States government, our two governments, whereby I would get a discount, so to speak, for lack of better terminology. Yeah, I filled out those forms. It didn't matter. I still get charged 30% on everything. So that's a third of whatever I make on the ads that pop up here and annoy us to death. So yeah, we're not making big money. The only people that make big money are like Mr. Beast, who has quadrillion subscribers, and in every video he puts up, he has millions, literally millions of views. He's making money. In fact, so much so that he's been able to make this into a very successful business. And he's branching out into television now and things like that. So yeah. And there are a few other top earners too on YouTube that have been able to play the system to their advantage. I'm not that clever to do that. Also, this is not a job for me. It's a hobby. So that's why I don't care about the money. What do I do with the money? Hey, what does anybody do with extra money? You spend it. Yeah. That glorious $200 at the end of every month that I get usually goes into, my other hobbies, quilting, 3D printing, all that kind of stuff. Once a month prize draws, because, that's not cheap, because to be honest, it costs me about $32 to ship out a prize every month. When I do my retreats, I have prizes there. That costs me. And I don't charge anybody for any of that. Again, it's part of my hobby. So I'm not complaining about any of that. I just thought you'd like to know that to put it in perspective. That's why when people ask me about buying some of my 3D printed things, and I basically say I don't sell them, because I like giving them away to people. I really do. I enjoy making the prints. It's another hobby. But when it comes to shipping them at $30-some a pop, yeah, you get the point. Okay, but back to YouTube taking advantage of us. YouTube is manipulating us as well. Recommended videos, they want to keep you on YouTube. And sad to say, most of us are addicted to YouTube. Many of us have gotten rid of television subscription services or streaming services and watch YouTube exclusively. I have not gotten rid of my streaming services because I like the programs that are on that. But I watch YouTube all the time. I watch YouTube now for the news. I watch YouTube for entertainment. I will even have watched YouTube for movies, because they do have a section of that. You want to talk about ads? Wow. That's a definite one that's trying to hook us into getting the subscription price, because they have these movies on there, and although they're not really current movies, you still might want to watch some of them, and you are going to get a lot of ads with that. So yeah, they manipulate us into that, but they manipulate us into buying things too, because there's advertising that pops up on the side screen. There's advertising that pops up in the middle, as we know, of YouTube's selling us products. And now, have you seen one of the latest things? And this is a trick, because I got caught. They usually put skip in, 10 seconds. It used to be like 5 seconds an ad. Now you usually have to go through at least one full ad, and then you can skip the second one. And even that, and the skipping time is getting longer for those. But there's another button right in that spot that sometimes appear, and it says send to my phone. And what that does is send whatever product is being advertised that moment a link to your phone that opens up a web page, and there where you can order whatever it is that they are advertising. I mean, it's very annoying, because if you're so used to, and they put it there on purpose because they know that we as viewers are automatically used to just clicking right in that one spot to skip the ad. So we're not paying a great deal of attention to it. At least I wasn't. And so we push that, and it suddenly on your phone, up comes that product. I mean, it doesn't do any harm, but it's annoying. Okay, but you might see something, and that's their philosophy. You might see something that catches your attention, and you'll want to buy it. They have other longer ads on YouTube. That if you, like for me, I'll have YouTube on while I'm sewing, and I won't be right next to my computer to be able to skip the ad. And I'll just let it play through. Some of those ads are a half an hour long, and they're usually trying to sell you some gimmicky, schmazzy thing like schmazzy, a word? I don't know. Scammer thing, like lose weight fast by using these 2 simple ingredients, or how to lose weight without exercising, or drink this and you'll lose weight. I seem to get a lot of ones about losing weight. I don't know what that is. Or how to make money quick. How to make money on Amazon without buying any products or having any inventory. Yeah. And then after you get through the ad, because I've let some of those play all the way through just to see where they lead to. Then they make you panic. Time limited offer. Push that button now. You have 20 seconds to find out more about this golden opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity, an opportunity that will alter your life forever. And the countdown goes tick, tick, tick. Well, as human beings, we are curious creatures. And you can say, oh, that doesn't work on me. It does work on us. It just depends on what emotional heartstring or what need we feel inside that we have to fulfill that it appeals to. So there's all of these tricks, and this is abuse. This is mental and emotional abuse, because that's what YouTube is playing on. They probably have people in one department that have backgrounds in psychology and know how the human mind works, and they're using that information to manipulate us. I mean, have you ever read 1984 by Orwell? Because Big Brother is watching us, and that Big Brother is YouTube. And now, with the incorporation of AI, and there is so much of that on YouTube right now. Many of the ads are AI generated. Some of the so-called documentaries, you have to watch very carefully. They're AI generated, and they use stock photos from the internet. But the voice is so human-like that's narrating it that at times you have to question, is this AI generated, or is this a real person? Sometimes even real people, or you think are real people, and that's getting harder to detect, are generated by AI on YouTube. So yeah, worry about YouTube as Big Brother. Now, what can you do about it? Nothing. Enjoy. I guess my philosophy is just be aware that this is happening, and you do you. If something comes up you don't like, turn it off. We all have the power of the off button, you know. If you don't like the content on a certain creator's channel, unsubscribe. Don't watch it. Don't bitch about it. Just don't watch it. Because I'll tell you something about content creators, okay? We don't care. What I mean by that is, don't write a long comment about something you didn't agree with us on and say, oh, and threaten to unsubscribe. My answer to that, and I've had a few of those, all of us have as content creators, I just go, okay, bye-bye. Hey, don't worry about it. I'll unsubscribe you for you. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You do you. If that makes you happy yelling at a content creator about something that can't be changed, then you go right ahead. But if if you're not happy with what you're watching or how YouTube is treating you, then turn it off. There are other sources of information. In this day and age, there are tons of sources at your fingertips through your computer. You don't need to allow yourself to be manipulated by a corporation. And I think that's the key. Taking back control. Don't be a victim. Take control of your own situation and do what you have to do to maintain that control. It's easy. Well, it sounds easy. We'll see. So, yeah, YouTube is abusing us, but that's life. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about new products. Well, I did get enabled. I thought I was doing so well at the Canadian Quilt Show. I didn't buy. I only spent $60. Yeah. And if you know me, if you've been here for a while, you know he only spent $60 at a major quilt show. Was he ill? Was he sick? Was he really there? Yeah, because I have been known to drop quite a lot of money at something like that. Well, I didn't this time for a variety of reasons, which actually we went over yesterday when we did our post-mortem on the Canadian Quilt Show on Stephen and Walter Live. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to tune into the replay for that. But anyways, the next day after the quilt show, we went to the quilt store, our local one, because I needed the backing fabric for the Quilt of Valor, and that was all I was going to buy. Yeah, and then Walter saw this quilt, yeah, hanging up, and yes, I fell in love with it as well. And well, more about that kit that I bought, very expensive kit. More on that tomorrow on the 88 Quilter, but that's been the extent of my purchases this week. Well, I did buy some new filament too for the printer, but then when am I not? So let's move into then, can I print this 3D effing thing? Well, I had a problem this week, first time, with the AMS. The AMS is the system that holds 4 spools of colored filament, and actually there it is, just over at the top, that big black box with the rounded dome. Okay. And that's what on my new Bamboo X1C printer switches between different colors. It's cool. But your filament goes through tubes that are in there. And there's one big tube at the back of that device that connects into the printer. And your filament is threaded through that tube. It's just a plastic tube. They called it a PFTE tube or PTFE tube. Get the initials right. I don't know. It stands for something. I have no idea what that stands for. So I was putting on a new reel of a spool of filament on the AMS, and it automatically, you put it in a little hole and it automatically feeds it in, takes it out, whatever. I thought out of the corner of my eye, though, when it was feeding the filament into the printer, I thought I saw, it was yellow filament, a strand of it popping out of the back of the printer and popping back in. I thought, my eye's playing tricks on me or what? So I watched again when I fed in the filament, and sure enough, the filament was coming out at the back of the AMS. And when I looked at it a little closer, the PTFE tube that's there, that the filament's supposed to be going through, was coming out of it because the tube had split. Yeah. Now I thought, oh, I got to change that. Well, I wasn't sure how to do that. But I went online to the Bamboo site, and they have extensive wiki that tells you everything you need to know about replacing parts, fixing your printer, and all that. And yeah, there it was, and it's a common problem. I guess the friction of the filament going through that tube and being retracted and pulled in many, many times during a print can wear the tube down. Gets a weak spot, gets a hole, your filament pops out. Not a biggie. Easy to replace. In fact, when I got the Bamboo printer, a package of spare things came with it, and in there was one of those tubes that I needed for this. So within a few minutes, I replaced it. It was easy once I figured out how exactly to do it, and it's fine. But I thought, since this is a common thing that happens, just normal wear and tear on the machine, I better buy some extra tubing. So I did. Well, you know what happens when you go on a site and they offer free shipping at a certain level. Well, Bamboo does that too. So they at $65 you have free shipping. Well, that's easy enough to do. So I bought a couple of more spools of filament. Why not? Because the filament or the tubing was only like $12.99. So, yeah. So I spent $80 to get free shipping. Yeah, basically is what I'm saying. But I fixed it. And this is something for those of you that may be still using Creality printers, like I am. I'm using my KEs and they're fine. I'm a little bored with them because they're not Bamboo. But that's the way it is. But they work fine. But parts on those wear out as well. And they're not always as easy to fix. I think they're designed for people with very thin and long tapery fingers to get into spots. Whereas the Bamboo Lab one is much easier. So far, I have found. So, yeah. Where was I going with this? Yeah, anyways, it's just another reason why I love the Bamboo printers. And yes, I'm getting itchy to buy a second X1C printer. I already know where I can put it. I have found a spot that'll work. And I'm just holding off. This has been an expensive month. Between paying for, and we're not done paying for those yet, but we have to put down a 40% deposit on the new windows that they've got on order now, and that'll get installed in probably a couple of months' time. So then we have to put more money, pay the rest of it. So that's an expense. The Netherlands, that was an expense. England is coming up, our trip to that's an expense. And Walter kindly mentioned to me, this trip to England is going to cost us more than the Netherlands because the pound rate now against our Canadian dollar is not good. It's worse than the euro. Yeah. Well, you can't take it with you, can you? Although I was going to try. So that, and then some enabling Walter has done on me with that quilt kit and other things. It all adds up. But I want a new printer. Another one. Yes. Would that mean I'd be getting rid of my KEs? Probably not. I think what'll happen there is once a KE starts to go on me, and when I say KE, I mean the Creality KEs, that's my other 4 printers. Once one of them starts to really get to the point where I'm fixing it all the time, then I'll retire it and maybe buy another Bamboo printer. Yeah, do I have a problem? I have a problem. But it's a fun problem. Yes, it is. It's lots of fun. So anyways, I did print something and I forgot to show it, take a picture of it, and I've given it away as a gift. And it's a dragon wand, but it's one of those things, and you've seen them before, that back, probably last year, I made, when I got some of the new KE printers, I made these things that, they're swords, and when you go like that, they shoot out the end, kind of a thing, long blade, they're retractable. They're cool. Well, this is of the same line, but they call it a dragon wand, and it has like a dragon coiled around the handle. It's really cool. I gave it away to one of my subscribers' grandchildren. Yeah. So I hope he's having fun with it. Hope he doesn't poke out somebody's eye. with it. But yeah, so I don't have that to show you, but it was really cool. Okay, so that's enough about the 3D printers. Let's talk about old clips from the past. I've had several of you tell me comments that you're kind of enjoying the old Walter and I. We were younger, because a lot of these ones I've been showing you have come from the first few months of when we started Stephen and Walter live. You know, we were having cocktail hours during those times as well. Now we just drink beer through them. But then they were recorded in our kitchen. For some reason, I'm not sure why we decided to kitchen, but we did. I've been taking bits and pieces out of these and trying to put them in sort of topics. And so this clip, and the topic is Stephen and Walter on being art gallery volunteers, because we were for a while. RMG Fridays, you've heard me talk about those before. Our local art gallery that we volunteer for, and on the first Friday of every month they have a night where they have entertainment. What's the matter?
Your stool.
Oh, annoying. Well, sorry about that. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have this on the first Friday of every month, and we are gallery attendants, basically. Walter's really good at it. He spots them coming in with their wine where they're not supposed to be, and he chops off their arms. Got a couple last night.
I always look too serious, I guess, or ready to kill them.
Yeah, scared of them. Angelica says, are you fond of Halloween? We're going to come to that, Angelica. Oh. We'll talk a little bit about that and what went on this year. But anyways, they usually have a couple of people who from local restaurants or bakeries or whatever that feature their wares. And this one group, Eat My Shortbread, had these tarts. Well, I tried a little sample, and they did taste quite good, the little sample that I had. So I bought a 6-pack, but just about knocked me over when she said half a dozen were $19. These better be damn good tarts. But anyways, we thought, because we've been talking about butter tarts before, we thought we would try it tonight. So have these 3 flavors.
Support local business.
Well, and support local business too, yeah.
I don't know if I can eat 3 halves.
Well, no, I'm not going to cut them in half. I'm just going to cut little pieces off them, because right now we haven't had dinner yet. We're busy back in the background. We've got 2 slow cookers going in the oven, because we are making I'm making a big mess of chili, because it just feels like it's chilly weather. It's because it's chilly out. It's November, and today's kind of a coolish day and that, so make up a big batch of chili. We'll maybe have some of that later tonight and freeze the rest of it. And Walter's making, they had what were they, pork shoulders? Or
yeah, they had pork shoulders on sale at grocery store, so I bought a couple, and I'm making pulled pork to put in the freezer.
Yeah, so we'll have lots of that stored up. You know, it's what we
Actually,
do.
it's only my 2nd time ever making pulled pork. I made it a little while ago, and it was really good. So I thought I'd try it again.
We're making up a big mess of comfort food for getting ready for the winter. That's what we do in Canada. You know, we're like bears. You know, we have to put on the extra fat to keep warm. Like, don't really need it. And speaking of fat, tarts. Okay. Let's just try, first of all, we won't try all 3 of them at once. Let's just try them in bits.
Okay.
So this one's the more traditional butter tart. They have very thick crust. Actually, it's quite good.
It is very good.
I expected it to be sweeter.
The crust for these is, instead of regular pastry, they've apparently made it a shortcut crust.
Short
pastry.
Cake. Short bread.
Short
bread.
No.
Bread crust.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's quite good. It's rich.
Yeah, it is, especially with the crust.
Yeah. So you know how many calories are in one of those, but that's not bad. It's not bad at all. They're very crumbly though. Like to pick it up and eat it with your hand, I don't think you can do it.
No,
I think it'll fall apart.
The crust, those kind of crusts are kind of.
So actually, that's kind of good. Angelica says they look really delicious. Yeah, they do. They look really good. So, and Angelica also says we have a night of open museums and galleries here in Cologne too. Yeah.
Well, actually, our art gallery is a little art gallery. It's local, and it's free to go in anytime. They usually ask for a donation, but you don't have to give a donation.
No.
But yeah, it's free to go in. And first Friday of every month, they have something called RMG Fridays, where they get a couple of bands in. I think I told you this before, but
No, I just told them that about 2 minutes ago.
well,
So anyways, carry on.
and they serve beer and wine, and people can wander around, except sometimes they're allowed to wander around the whole gallery. But then for some reason, somebody decides that they can't drink in certain rooms, and then I have to police them, and which I don't really care for.
I go around and I think I've mentioned this before. I'm supposed to give sort of nutshell tours and that and answer any questions they have. And I certainly don't have all the answers, but I'll lie. I make it up as I go along sometimes. And I told them though for this week, usually I don't get many people for these little 10, 15-minute tour things because there's so much going on that night. And especially if they can't take their wine or their beer around with them when I do the little tour, it kind of deters it. You know, they're basically weighing the odds. Do I want to be educated or do I want to drink? You know what wins? I want to drink. It's Friday night. I want to have my drink.
Well, and last night was particularly busy. I guess they had over 300 people attend last night, so which is usually pretty substantial for a small gallery like that.
Yeah, well, they've become more and more popular because that's actually becoming more not the exception.
Yeah.
That's more the rule now.
Yeah, it's pretty much, especially in the winter months.
Yeah. And I did have a lot of people ask me questions and things. So I just went around and I like that because it kills the time, because otherwise you're wandering around and it's not a huge art gallery. And quite frankly, being a gallery attendant can be very boring.
Yeah, it can be.
I mean, until you...
So I even go around, pick up wine glasses and stuff like that. And the ladies that serve the wine are happy that I help them out. So
Yeah.
I don't have to do that. That's not really my job, but
Yeah, well,
I like being productive. So
well, we kind of, our jobs blend over to everything. We're volunteers, so that's the whole idea. So
that takes me to events in the past week. Well, yes, of course, and I'm not going through it again because I'm sure you've heard enough about the Canadian Quilt Show. We did a whole thing with all the quilts that I videoed for Friday's So Chatty. So if you haven't seen that and you're interested, that's all there for you. And we did a whole thing on Stephen and Walter Live, post-mortem, as I mentioned before. And this week on Idiot Quilter, for those of you that really wanted a chance to see the quilts without it going by so fast on the video, Walter took a lot of still pictures of them, and I put that together as a short slideshow where you can just go ahead and pause the video to study a quilt a little bit more closely. So that's there. We had a pop-up sew day on Saturday, and that was fun. Had about 30 people at the height of it, which was a great number. And if you missed the opportunity to be part of that on Saturday, well, very soon there's going to be another one coming up. I'm having Stephen's Birthday Bash pop-up sew day. I have this every year. It's a little bit more special pop-up sew day. I give away prizes on the occasion of my birthday. Yeah. Usually get gifts, I give gifts on my birthday. So it's always lots of fun. And that's coming up on Saturday, July the 12th. So that's in about 3 weeks' time. And 5 days before, when I start putting up my weekly videos, just before it, there will be a Zoom link for that in the show notes then. Okay. And those of you on my mailing list, I will send out that link to you on the Monday before that Saturday as well. But all are welcome to join that as everyone is on any pop-up sew day. And as I said, this one's going to have prizes. So I'll give you more details about that when we get closer to the date. Okay, so ever seen a toad turd? Yeah, there's a segue into nothing. Yeah, you know we have Toady the Todd, right? Talked about Toady the Todd. Todd the Toady. No, Toddy the Toad. That's what we call him. Call him Todd the Toad. Yeah. Who's living under our deck in our patio area. Now, we haven't seen him in a few days, so I don't know. He's probably keeping him hidden in the shade somewhere. But we were sitting out there the other night having a drink or two. And I looked over underneath our outdoor light that's there, and I see this thing that looks like a worm, a big fat worm. So I went over to investigate it. I didn't want to touch it, but it didn't seem to move or anything like that. I said to Walter, I think that's a toad turd. Walter went, that's too big. It can't be. He said, it's a bunny or a fox. First of all, on occasion, there have been foxes in the forest behind us, but a fox nor a bunny can get under our door, because this is enclosed area, can get into the patio. So I don't think that's what that is. I think it's a toad turd. He didn't believe me, so I immediately took a picture of it using Google Lens and identified it. Oh yeah, it is a toad turd. Who would have thought? There was actually a video, kind of disgusting, of a toad in the process of getting rid of one of those. So yeah, who would have thought? Now he's a big toad. Okay, he's a two-hander, this toad. So not that I'm going to pick him up, but yeah. So you learn something new every day. Aren't you excited that I shared that out with you? You're just lucky I didn't take I did take a picture of it, but I'm not going to share it with you. It's nasty. Yeah. Okay, so, when the highlight of your week is a toad turd on your patio, what's that say about your life? Yeah. Okay, so, as I said, so what's coming up? Well, of course, the birthday bash pop-up day. Stay tuned for more details. And that's about it. So, tune into The Idiot Quilter tomorrow. Because I'm going to reveal the kit I bought, and I'm going to talk about some other things. There will be a few things, again, still related to the Canadian Quilt Show, but I won't be spending the whole time talking about that. We've talked about it enough, and I'm sure you're sick of it. And yeah, and talk a little bit more about, well, by then I'll know where I'm going with the quilt that my sister has asked me to make her. Yes, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. She asked me to make a quilt for her, and I'm thrilled. Yeah, more about that tomorrow. Okay, hope you have a good day. I hope you're staying cool if you're in the heat wave. If you're someplace a lot colder, I hope you're staying warm. Whatever. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye for now.